On our wedding day, not a single family member showed up. Not even my father, who promised to walk me down the aisle. They all went to my sister's baby shower instead. But a day later, I posted one picture on Instagram. Less than an hour after that, I received 417 missed calls and text messages from them. What could have shaken them so suddenly? Keep watching to find out. They thought they were choosing the winning side in a family rivalry they invented themselves. But they forgot that the game was rigged from the start, just not in the way they assumed. My name is Nina, and for my entire life, I've been the understudy to my sister Iris's one-woman show. Our family operates less like a cohesive unit and more like a badly managed hedge fund. With my mother, Beatrice, as the frantic CEO, and Iris as the sole high-risk asset. Iris did everything right, according to the unwritten rules of our family. She married a man named Gregory, whose family name, Davenport, carried the faint, musty aroma of generational wealth, even if the reality was closer to generational mortgages. Her life was a carefully staged production. My family were the financial backers, perpetually applauding and hoping for a return on their emotional investment. I, on the other hand, was the off-book venture they never understood. I chose a different path. I chose Daniel Dane. Daniel doesn't have a surname that gets him preferential tea times. He has hands stained with ink and graphite, hands that bring worlds to life. He's a comic book artist, a storyteller who works from a small, sun-drenched studio at the back of our rented cottage, a space that smells of paper and possibility. To me, that scent is the fragrance of creation. To my family, it was the reek of financial instability. It couldn't fathom a life that wasn't benchmarked by promotions and property values. When I announced our engagement, the response was less joyful celebration and more a collective mournful sigh. My mother, Beatrice, deployed her signature look of pained disappointment. "Nina, my dear," she'd lament, "it's lovely that you've found someone who shares your creative inclinations. But one cannot frame inclinations and hang them on the wall of a house you couldn't afford." My sister, Iris, was more direct, her sympathy as thin and brittle as sugar glass. "I just worry about you," she'd coo, inspecting her flawless manicure. "It's a difficult world without a proper foundation." Her foundation was a trust fund my father refilled with the predictability of a tide every time Gregory's latest investment opportunity turned out to be a financial sinkhole. The ultimate power play was the scheduling. Iris, with a theatrical display of regret, announced her elaborate gender reveal party for the exact same Saturday as my wedding. Slow, it was a tactical masterstroke of social warfare, a loyalty test presented as an unfortunate coincidence. And the family, with the lemming-like predictability I'd come to expect, chose the promise of a Davenport heir and the spectacle of a cannon shooting colored powder over the quiet, solemn vows of a daughter they had long since written off as a lost cause. My father, Jeffrey, the man who taught me how to read, had promised me he would be there. "I'll be there to walk you down the aisle, my girl," he'd said, his eyes meeting mine with what I mistook for sincerity. Or just have to slip away from the party for an hour or so. He never came. The day of the wedding, my phone became a monument to their united front of indifference. I sat in the small anteroom of the charming, ivy-covered chapel we'd booked, a bride in waiting. One by one, the texts arrived, each a perfectly crafted little dagger of polite abandonment. "So sorry, darling. Iris is feeling a bit overwhelmed and needs me." From my mother, "Gregory's parents have cornered us. Impossible to get away." From my aunt. And from my father, the final gutting blow. "Things are really celebratory here. So sorry. Your sister's moment is very important to us all." Each message was a tiny, perfect encapsulation of my role in the family. An afterthought, a secondary concern, an obligation to be regretfully cancelled. They weren't just missing my wedding. They were publicly ratifying my irrelevance. The ceremony was set for 4 o'clock. At 10 minutes to, I was staring at my reflection, a bride with no one to present her. That's when Mr. Davies found me. He was our landlord, a retired diplomat who lived in the main house. He'd come to the chapel to offer his well wishes and drop off a gift. He found me not in tears, but in a state of icy calm. My phone face up on the small table beside me, its screen a damning list of unanswered pleas. He saw the screen, his gaze taking in the litany of my family's betrayal. He was a man accustomed to observing without commenting, his kind, intelligent eyes missing nothing. He looked at my dress, my solitary figure, then down at his own impeccably tailored suit. "Nina," he said, his voice imbued with a gentle authority that brooked no argument. "It would be my profound honor if you would permit me to escort you." And so, I was walked down the aisle, not by the father who forsook me, but by the dignified gentleman who collected our rent. The wedding was intimate, but it was filled with a palpable warmth. Our small circle of friends celebrated with an enthusiasm that filled the void my family had left. Daniel's eyes, full of a love that needed no validation, were all the family I needed in that moment. After the ceremony, as we mingled with our guests, Mr. Davies approached us. "I happened to overhear that a honeymoon was not in the immediate plans," he said. "We had, of course, prioritized securing the lease on Daniel's new, larger studio space over a vacation. That is a situation that must be rectified," he said with a decisive nod. He took out his phone and made a brief call. "Jonathan," he said, his tone familiar and easy. "Davies here. I'm calling about that young artist I introduced you to, the one who designed the graphic novel adaptation of your grandfather's journals. Well, he has just gotten married. Yes, a lovely girl. Wonderful. My sincerest thanks." Here, ended the call and turned to us, a twinkle in his eye.